don't know if you'd noticed, RMS got quite a bit faster recently. I've done a big server upgrade about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I had a guy on, bit of Linux tuning, and got her singing sweetly.
Revo remap.
A quick remap, and because people are RMS, if it takes longer than 0.1 of a second to load a page in the forum, like straight onto the support thread. And I was reading today, was it if Amazon's page load was 1 second longer than what it is at the moment, they would lose something like 1.6 billion a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's mad.
That's how impatient we are as a race nowadays. 3 seconds to 60 is now just like normal.
But that's kind of generic with everything, because like I even think about my own shopping habits and buying habits. If something is taking longer than you expect, you're fucking hitting the roof going, where is this here? Like, I need this like yesterday.
Yeah. Well, you can't get many car parts on the likes of Amazon, but it's where the likes of Amazon or Euro Car Parts or something like that, really good website. It's just so convenient. And I know there's some of our local traders going, flipping, people need to come into our shops, and they 100% do. But at the same time, those same people, I'm sure, use Amazon to go and buy stuff as well.
Absolutely.
As well.
I think it raises a good point about the kind of human condition in general now, because we're all quick to anger when things don't load in 10 seconds or 20 seconds or 30 seconds or things. But it wasn't long ago that you would have dialed up your modem, went away for 10 minutes, got a cup of tea and came back and fought nothing of it.
Well, I built RMS on dial-up.
Yeah, but now,
back in the day,
you read every day about road rage and people are getting angry so quickly over and often, and I think it's just everything's accelerating so fast that people now just go from 0 to angry or 0 to happy in 1 second.
I was thinking about this when I was coming down here to record the show, and I was listening to audiobook, and then I was like, always at stuff, and I was like, no, I'll just turn it off. I'll put the car in sport, because I brought the flipping Lotus down. I'll put the Lotus down, but I'm listening to audiobook. I'm not here with the car. I'm not enjoying it. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, exactly. Like, it just we are just sure. Look at electric cars now, and it's all about the instant speed and all the stuff it has on the screen and all the rest, rather than just music off, windows down, enjoying yourself.
Yeah, it's very much about the destination, not the journey.
On that point of existential threat, here we go. Welcome to the Soul to Scene podcast. I'm Andy Cooper from RMS Motoring, and I'm joined today by Gary Riley.
Hello.
And Ross Annett.
And what is happening?
And in this show, well, look, it's the summertime. It's actually pretty warm, which is decent. We'll take it. Loads of stuff coming up. Looking at the diary. So we'll maybe get through some of that sort of stuff first, because I think there's actually some things that are double booked. I know that at the start of July, Eurotreffen's on, Blue Circle Sailing Club, up near Larne. Brilliant show, really relaxed. It's arrive and show. If you're in on time, you get the show. You going, Ross? No,
unfortunately not. I'm off on holidays this Sunday, and I'm gutted because the Eurotreffen show is just we've waxed lyrical about it before, but it's just cool, so it is. And even better bit is nobody can bypass Larne. You don't even have to go into it to go to it.
Have you been to it, Gary?
Larne? No, never been to Eurotreffen.
Eurotreffen show?
Never.
The best thing about Larne was disembarking on the ferry. You didn't have to go into Larne for that either.
It was always late at night.
We're going to get in a lot of trouble about Larne, but great for a show.
Sorry, but by the time they hear it in the 56k modem, it'll be next year sometime.
We'll be all right. So, look, that's a great show. But I think on the same day, Loughgall is on as well. So a bit of motorsport, car show there. Track Skills is on the next day, on the Sunday, the 7th of July. Supercars at the Boulevard,
it's this Sunday coming.
This Sunday.
Again, I was supposed to be going to it, but I just cannot fit them both in.
Sunday the 30th. And then Supercar Sunday or the Supercar weekend is on at the end of July.
Is that the Bishop's Court one?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's always kind of end of July, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's on the Saturday, it's up at the pits in the northwest, and then the Sunday down at Bishop's Court, which I'm back on the mic again. I actually need to get organised for that and find out what cars are coming, because the amount of research I have to do for that, because I don't know my supercars, and that forces me to
It's not that you
learn.
don't know your supercars, it's that most of the Ferraris now are so generic looking that when you see them, oh, listen, I'm ready for the flak, but they're only salty because it's true. Most of them look so similar that I need to think back to last year. The only cars we really knew that were coming around was the likes of the Porsches and that, because you could literally hear them.
Mm-hmm.
All these new fast Ferraris with their petrol particulate filters and everything else, they were so quiet. It was really disappointing.
Yeah, because of they're all hybrid drivetrains, and
There's a lot of platform sharing, but I totally agree with you. I would struggle to tell some Ferraris apart, but then I'm not a huge Ferrari beard. You know, no Porsches better probably, and Lamborghinis and things. But
So one thing that show taught me last year was I sort of got my head around 458, 488, you know, Murcielago, all the bulls, all the Lamborghini bulls and stuff like that. But the problem is, and the great thing about the Supercar Sunday is these guys that collect these cars, it isn't just the standard 458 Italia or whatever. It is special edition of a special edition.
Yeah.
You know, the detail is in the detail.
competition spec or something.
Exactly, yeah. And they're all, you know, like one of 100 or one of 50.
Competition only.
Or, you know.
There's one of the guys last year, we both know him, and him and I think it was his uncle came down, and two of the absolute most rare Ferraris, and like we're not talking like pocket change here, like these were £500,000 cars, and he was driving the wheels off them. It was fantastic to see, like there's no doubt about it. The other thing that Supercar Sunday really showed you is that there's a lot of money in this country.
Oh, absolutely.
A lot of money.
But here, look, it's a day, it's a great day, it's for the air ambulance, so get out and support it, but it's also an amazing opportunity to see stuff in one place being used in anger. There's nowhere else in Northern
And
Ireland.
being driven, and that's what said. These guys were not afraid to.
No, everyone's up for it.
Full send. It was great.
Everyone's up for it. So that's coming as well. Do you know what? There's drag racing not at the circuit at Bishop's Court, but at the other part of Bishop's Court at the start of September. And finally, on the Bishop's Court theme, it's for sale. If you have 2 million notes, nip on the property, pal. Hit buy it now. Own yourself a racetrack.
I'm sure we get started on RMS GoFundMe.
Yeah, get a fundraiser. Do you know something? There had been less silly things talked about.
I think the problem with Bishop's Court is the fact that it can only run a handful of days because of noise regulations, which is just, it's such a shame because it is an absolutely brilliant circuit. I'll not say it's better than Clarkson because the guys down at Clarkson, but it's really, really good. It's different. It's different.
Yeah,
and you know, it's a spectacular circuit.
It's good to have a choice.
Yeah, and that's it. The choice is being taken away from us, unfortunately.
We could crowdfund it. I do think everyone gets 1 foot of tarmac to do with as you please.
Well, that would be a club-owned circuit sounds absolutely fantastic, but I'm sure it would be an absolute nightmare.
It would be a nightmare. Yeah,
an absolute nightmare. But yeah, that's a real going concern. But will flipping end up turned into flipping flats?
But they spent a lot of money on it in the last few years to redevelop it and to get it up, and like it's the tarmac is wide and flat and beautiful, and
that's why it's good for that Supercar Sunday, because they really had like a lot of speed coming down one of the big straights.
Yeah,
and if you happen to be standing at the right place at the bottom, as you say, there's nothing quite like it. You'll hear these very, very expensive supercars, full chat, 120, 130 mile an hour.
I was doing 168 in an SF90, not last year,
or 170.
I didn't make it to 170.
Yeah.
And I could have made it, but it wasn't like, I was like afterwards, I'm like, what the hell am I doing? Mm-hmm. The money's worth for these things. But yes, it's a spectacular circuit, and it just shows you what those cars are actually so capable. Ferraris of the 90s were absolute rubbish, and nowadays they are pinnacles of, they are proper hypercars.
Hypercars,
yeah. So massively impressive. Anyway, that's what the events are coming. Not that we do sort of segments and sections, but I'm going to move on because the clock's ticking. We don't have time for this. We're all too busy, looking for the next thing. And I was away on my holidays there myself. I was in the Cotswolds, so Clarkson territory.
Yep.
Lovely part of the world. I nipped up to just outside Stratford-upon-Avon. I know there's plenty of ones in RMS have been there. Caffeine and Machine.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely first class. Wee pub out in the middle of nowhere with lovely grounds and like teepees, and it was a classic Merc evening when I was there, so it was like 500 SELs and all that sort of stuff. And it was a Monday night. I had our dinner, sat around, had the wee one with us, and it was great as a family day out. Wife really enjoyed it as well. Got some merch. It was cracker. And very relaxed, and they were serving Hawkstone there as well, actually.
Oh, very good.
So I was going to mention the other thing was of course, the Clarkson beer. Had to try it, and then went for Father's Day. I was treated to the tour of the brewery, and I got absolutely Polak. I did.
So it's good stuff then.
Do you know what? I had no hangover.
That's definitely good.
Which was interesting, but it was funny. There wasn't really much to see because it's still quite a small brewery, so they just feed you with absolutely stacks of drink. But it was really good. Obviously, went to Diddley Squat as well. I didn't buy anything. No one buys. You just go there, get a picture in front of the sign.
Yeah,
got a picture with the C63 in front of the sign, so we took it over. It managed to munch its way through 4 or 5 tanks of fuel, no bother.
On that note, do we still have the C63?
Still have the C63. It just got a haircut in price. So it did there today because it needs.
Got a haircut mileage as well.
No, the mileage actually increased because I had away.
Must have drove back from England in reverse.
Put 1,300 miles on it, plus when I was away in England. Plus,
not many.
No, do you know that's an interesting thing too? You would think, or you would hope, with the advent of EVs and tracking and all that they have in them now, that hopefully that whole world of clocking cars is hopefully going to be the thing of the past.
It has to be nearly impossible to do now.
Yeah.
It really, because even when you think about it, like, my X5, which is 5 years old at this stage, like, BMW have got like real-time telemetry and information, so they're messaging me when the car tells them something, so they know when it needs.
Yeah, they've constant live snapshots of what the mileage is.
So they know that something,
Yeah, even your online service history and all that sort of carry on. And the online service history, by the way, can sometimes be a pain because if you're not the right person, you don't have the right details, you can't get hold of it. If you have to ring up for it, it's not something you can get through your iDrive or
but
like
in
that.
terms of clocking cars, it can only be a good thing. It's stopping that or putting a stop to it at least.
Yeah, because it's rife or was rife.
It definitely was. I'm sure we've all had bought a car that's definitely had a shady history on it, and even though the books, the stamps, and everything, and you have to take things as read, but
30,000 genuine miles and the steering wheel worn down the wire.
Worn down.
The one of the big things that really knocked that on, or maybe didn't knock it on the head, but opened people's eyes was when the MOT history became live.
Yeah.
The difference that made.
Plus HPA checks.
Yeah.
They were very helpful.
Yeah,
but it kicked off.
But at least you don't even need. It's public now, so at least you can just go and check and see. Right. There was a service at 120,000 miles, and then the previous one was at 90, and the previous one was 274. What?
What I find useful now too is the way the Google Image actually will do recognition on number plates too. So if you're looking at a car, you can key in the reg in the Google,
right?
and sometimes you'll find previous ads and stuff for the car.
Very good.
Which is handy. Not every car, but
did I tell you about my car and that?
Yeah.
And I did tell you in a previous podcast about seeing the car, put my reg in, and someone had taken it. I was like, what are people at? Like, but yes, you never know what's going to appear on Google.
Remember Phil D?
We can't talk about.
No, this was nothing bad. Remember Phil D? He told us one time about this coffee van in Middleburn that he frequents.
That's right.
And I was trying to work out where it was, or one of us was trying to work out. We brought up Google Images and went in, on the map and Street View, look for it. And here's him sitting beside the van having a coffee in Street View.
It's always good crack when you find someone on Street View, out pulling the bins out, or with the Google face wipe, or. The Suzuki Baleno search in RMS, there's bound to be lots of those on Street View because they seem to be popping up
everywhere.
Everywhere.
So tell me, I take it you're not going to bump into Clarkson, did they squat on any given day? But
Nope.
does he be around ever?
No.
Apart from when he's filming?
I don't think he's there when there's people there.
Right.
Pretty much.
So it only opens like a day a week, is it? Or
Oh
a
no,
couple of days, or?
the shop's open every day, but he has staff on it. You know, so they probably do any of the filming when it's closed down, because the place is normally mobbed by people.
I would imagine.
And you see in the show where, you know, he's having trouble with the council, but sure, all the grass verges are all torn up by cars parking up the road for half a mile because they all want to get in. I was trying to buy. The only thing I was going to buy was a tea towel, because I do actually like the way he has the. My wee girl loves tractors, and they're hitting, you know, the tractor with the flames coming out of it in a tea towel, which is a really rare looking thing. But of course they were sold out. But
Some were having been, but you're saying caffeine machine. You didn't see where Gav 525 on the forum had posted up. He was in caffeine machine in his Micra, the grandest spec Micra. Have you seen that?
no, I haven't.
So some ways will obviously know Gav. He's works offshore in rigs and that there. And the problem is when Gav's offshore, he sometimes has a wee drink or two, and he goes on mad eBay searches and hunts. And he won. And it's a really nice, clean, respectable car. But do you remember the ancient Nissan Micra from like 1980s? Mm-hmm. So he won one of those there, drove over, picked it up, drove it back home, stopped in a cafe machine.
Is that like is it the KPS 13 Micro
Something
or
like
something?
yeah. This thing with one wing mirror on it, but he absolutely loves it. Loves it. And again, stopped in a cafe machine, got his photograph taken. There was some other mad nerd beard as well who had a very similar one. But yeah, it's really funny to see that, you know, even things like that there wee car were so well received when he rocked in on it.
K10 is the original Micra. Now, and also called the Nissan March, but I'm just reading this article on Wikipedia, immediately thinking Datsun Cherry. Mm-hmm. Well, that was the previous car back in the late 70s. The Datsuns. Remember someone took me to school in a Datsun. But anyway, shite.
I'm not even going down that road.
No, that's next topic.
Cancel.
I know we were talking about before we started, we were going to get cancelled. Good thing we don't record half of our preamble. We talked enough nonsense. Anyway, so great trip over to beautiful part of the centre of England, and as I say, cafe machine. I think they have 3 cafe machines now, so well worth. That's why people try and tie their trips in, call into one, because it's just a cool place.
It's great to see though that there is something like that there, that, you know, that enthusiasts can just go to, and on any given night you're going to see something spectacular, something rare, something iconic, something ancient. Slap
bang in the middle of England, it works. I don't know if it would work over here.
Bang in the middle of Armagh.
Who knows?
Maybe not. Other things I've been at as well then. So the Lotus had to go in for recall, software update, something like that, and was down in Hursts, called in to, of all places, BYD.
Do you say bid?
No.
Bide?
No.
Or just BYD?
It's BYD.
All the time.
And do you know why it's BYD?
I do.
Build your dreams. Have you seen the booklet of these, Gary? And it actually says "Build your dreams."
I'm cringing inside it. Listen to this
in uppercase. Now, I say that, and I'm being slightly disingenuous here, but the cars themselves. So I saw the Atto 3, which is, I don't know if you've seen the picture of it. It has like the guitar and the door cards.
And the door cards, yeah.
And then which is the smaller one, and then they have the seal and the dolphin, which are kind of, all the names are kind of silly. They're bringing out a new one. It's called the Seagull.
Dear God.
Absolutely.
Coming next month, trout.
Yes. Here, you wouldn't put it past the Chinese. You wouldn't put it past them.
I'm not feeling these fishy names.
No, the names are very fishy.
Yeah.
The quality of the cars, very impressive. See the inside of they have a big saloon. It's like a big executive car. Lovely. And it's all like diamond stitched leather and leather dash and big 15-inch screen like a Tesla, but rotates, and, you know, like they've just went to the lengths they've went to, and the quality, the feel and the quality. I was not what I was expecting whatsoever.
Something cringy about them. Like the name, the whole thing of the name is just stinks of that kind of poor Chinese translation of something English.
Of a knockoff, yeah.
Yes.
But that's what I was expecting
if
when I got into
dream,
it.
we come.
Yeah, but that's what I was expecting, and I got into it, and I was like, oh, this is actually really nice inside. This is actually a lot nicer inside than a Model 3. You know, so it was very impressive. Also, I think it was the Dolphin. Someone will be shouting at us now. That was 269 down and 269 a month to hop into an EV. It's not bad at all.
Not bad at all.
So
look, do you know something? They know what their market is. You know, they really do.
Fish market. Sorry.
I think they've got it. They've got it sussed that people who want a generic EV are just going to pick something. You know, dare I say it, it's the people who aren't so fussed about how a car looks or how it feels or how it performs. They want all the mod cons. They want something nice and comfortable.
People who aren't RMS, basically.
Yeah, a commuter, a good commuter car.
well, here, so where BYD is, it's right beside. It actually shares the same building, and you can walk between the two parts with Cupra.
Okay.
Which is the Seat. Is it all electric? All the Cupra stuff? No,
I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe not.
I don't think so.
No.
They have a lot of
Anyway,
electric stuff, but I think they still do the petrol variants.
It's the Cupra Born I'm thinking of anyway, like the ID3 based Cupra Sporty.
Cupra's the brand, but
Yep.
anything performance.
Yeah, so I was looking at the Born, and it was the same sort of money as the big BYD, and the Born had like really cheap cloth seats and cheap plasticky dash and all the rest, and which you would accept because sometimes that's what Seat used to be good at. If you did like a Cooper R, Leon R, something like that, there you say, well, look, do you know what? Wee bit of scratchy plastics and all the rest, but it has the EA888 2-litre turbo out of a Golf R. It has 276 horse, great driving thing, fantastic. So you sort of forgive it for that.
It has the important Volkswagen bits.
It has the right bits in the right place, which was always the great thing about the hot Seats. But I looked at the Born, and then I looked. Walk around. I was like, if you just walked around the corner and got into something else at the same money, but better monthlies, and was a really significantly better finished car. So I was really surprised, but. The Chinese, like they're much nicer even than an MG or anything like that.
I think the finish in Volkswagens even and maybe Audis has gone down in general.
Oh, 100%.
Because I was chatting to a guy in work about this, so he's got a new Golf and he wasn't quite happy with some of it. And then even after he got the 84, and you know, you've washed it 4 or 5 times, you start noticing little things as you're washing it, and just a few spot welds that are visible where you would normally see them. There was a light on the rear which isn't just totally perfectly aligned. It's stuff you would normally notice, like, and probably nobody else would notice, but you kind of would expect a little bit better.
Sure, look at the Golf 8 and the Golf, the 7.5 that came before it, sort of the pinnacle of the GTI and all that sort of carry on, and then the Golf 8 came cheap materials, terrible infotainment, didn't drive as well. Did you see the most recent Evo? Was it they were talking about the new Golf R, the 8.5 maybe? And saying that
hasn't moved the game on at all.
No.
And these bloody haptic sensors for everything, which drives people mad.
Yeah, they're dangerous.
Yeah.
So and so you've brands. Yes, don't get me wrong. They are some of these brands are just making cars for people to go to A to B, but that's what likes of Vauxhall and Ford do and all the rest, and they're just going to, some of these brands are going to die and be replaced in part. Cannibalized by some of these Chinese brands. That's what you're going to see. You're going to see these cars on the road more and more.
And the thing is, like, I have no idea what they're paying their workers, but Chinese companies are obviously doing it cheaper at a much larger scale than what Vauxhall can compete with over here.
Yeah.
So they are going to undercut them, and
that's why Musk makes cars out in China. 100%.
Exactly.
Huge market and cheap labour force. Loads of battery tech.
Yeah.
As well.
Talking about Musk, did any of you make it down to the Cybertruck event?
No, but
holy shit. It's just I called down to see it because, do you know something? I was just really interested in it. After all the talk and after everything that they were talking about, I just had to go and see it. So you walk into the showroom and they've got what's the big one? The Model Y, isn't it? It's the Yeah. So
the taller one. Yeah.
Bearing in mind the Model Y is very similar in size to my X5. So the Model Y on one side, Cybertruck in the middle, and then Model 3.
When we had the last podcast, you hadn't seen it.
Hadn't seen it.
So yes, we were talking about it in the last show. That's right.
Now they had it in like jacked up mode not there, but when I say it's huge, it was fucking huge. Like you felt like you could have fitted the Model Y into the back of it. It was just like, it was just bonkers how big and how I loved it. Like, I absolutely loved it. Now, then they played around with, they put it down into like lower mode and stuff like that there, and it was a lot more respectable. But when it was in like full on jacked up, it was just mental.
But it is competing with these American pickup trucks,
yes,
isn't it?
it's
So
made
on
to
their
compete
own
with
masses.
those- yeah, it's made to compete with the likes of the F-150 and stuff like that there. So they're called super trucks over in the States, and you can kind of understand why. But now they had it kind of coned off, so you weren't allowed inside it or things like that there. But I kind of pushed my way in past the barriers to stick my head in the door, and it's very, very Tesla-like inside. Loads and loads of space. I can't imagine they're ever going to make it to these shores over here, though.
You reckon?
There's no way they're passing any crash tests over here. That is as simple as that. And funny, it was what the Tesla salesman was telling me, was that in America, because the class is commercial vehicles, you can kind of get away with whatever you need to. You can wing it.
Yeah.
They don't have to pass the same kind of crash tests and everything. And even though American crash tests are a lot more lenient compared to what we have over here, when you look at those big angular stainless steel,
As long as it kills less than 5 people at 30 miles an hour, it's all right.
but it's mad.
But even looking past the crash tests, America just has that market for pickup trucks. We
They
don't
do.
have it here.
Yeah,
We definitely
We
don't.
buy Shoguns.
yeah, I know.
But
L200s.
it was just
nonsense
something
like
to,
that.
It was something to see and something to do, and if I had the wherewithal to get one in this country, I would have one in the morning, no doubt about it.
Just because the coolness factor.
Just because of it's just so, it's like driving something from Minecraft out there. Like it's the angles, but there's nobody is not seeing you in it.
Yeah.
It was just phenomenal. I loved it.
Class.
So there you go.
I could imagine your big smiling face rolling down the window.
But do you know what was even like what made me smile and laugh more than anything else is, you know, how Teslas all do the show and like they open the doors and flap them and that there. It does like a 1 minute video where it's like all the sound and the lights going and the disco, and it was just like, man, it was just fucking cool. And I just felt like I am one
We're
of
all
these
big
here.
kids at heart.
I'm just that's exactly it. Like there was me and I was busy laughing away at it, and then I looked to my left and I saw this. Okay, look, it was like this 50-year-old nerd, and he had his tie bride with him, and he was bopping along to it, and I was like, yeah, okay, it's not cool anymore.
I think anyone who grew up watching Back to the Future and has a soft spot for DeLoreans might kind of like it, just because of the finish.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
funny, just in the same weekend, the DeLorean thing was there, and all the DeLorean boys had called around to see it because they got like a special invite to come in because it's all the stainless steel lovers. So it was actually quite
Stainless
funny
steel lovers.
because they couldn't
Like
get
an
it cleaned.
80s pop ballad.
All these guys with pots and pans coming in.
But they couldn't get the Cybertruck cleaned properly, so they didn't. So obviously, anybody who like
Had
has
auto
ever
sol
worked-
with them.
Well, no, baby oil.
I was about to say, but it's probably baby wipes or
Yeah,
something silly like
I
that.
mean, deadly serious.
Like, you're not going to tea cut it.
It's the same as in like a commercial kitchen out there. You always see like stainless steel. They've got the walls out there. The only thing that cleans up properly is baby oil. It's just that masks everything. So they have this Tesla Cybertruck covered in baby oil top to bottom. It was just weird. So it was, but yeah, it was funny.
Steel wool.
Yeah,
You know, when one of those horror stories, like somebody's kid went out and started cleaning the car with steel
you
wool.
imagine?
You go on, give it your best. You
yeah.
shit.
Go for it.
Fantastic. We have to get some pictures in the show notes of that,
Yeah,
Ross.
I fired those ones there in.
Very good. Very good. Gary, have you had anything since our last encounter of note?
Not really, no.
I'm
Carrying that on.
going to plug the gap whilst you're...
Been just doing the same old thing and driving the same old wheels. I've got lane assist written in my notes here, and I was trying to remember why I wrote it. And I remember
Because it's annoying as shit, is it?
I was driving my wife's car,
Uh-huh.
relatively low speed in a 40-mile-an-hour area, and a child stepped out from behind a vehicle, and I instinctively swerved out. And I'm not going to say it was neck and neck, like I probably had room to manoeuvre, but
Yep.
they gave me a little fright. Lane assist pulled me back in.
You're joking me.
Yeah, very quickly, and obviously I had both hands on the wheel, so it wasn't an issue, but just got me thinking. Like that you know, if you had just been resting one hand on the wheel, weren't gripping it,
Yeah.
that would have pointed me back towards the kid. So safer for me, perhaps, not safer for the kid who steps out. Now, that's a very isolated, exceptional incident.
But here, it just shows you.
It's so annoying too. But I've noticed actually now, like, I class myself car enthusiast, same as everyone around here and probably everyone who's listening. And if I drive a car with it, I always turn it off. I don't want the steering wheel being taken away out of my control. But my wife has now taken it to turn it off whenever she's driving the car. And she literally, cars are for getting from A to B. That's the only thing.
Yep.
Just says it drives her mad. So it seems to be legislated now that it's going to be in every vehicle, but everyone I know just hates it.
Yeah, I've noticed it. It's one of the first things I switch off it and the auto start stop because they're two things that just seem
so
to
annoying.
Cause more annoyance than any sort of.
Have you got collision detection, that thing where you might be reversing into a space and it detects a fly behind you and the car lurches and you think you've hit someone?
Stops. Yeah.
So the Merc doesn't have lane assist. It does have start stop.
Yeah.
The Lotus does not have start stop. It does not have lane assist. How Lotus managed to omit those features?
I thought they were EU legislated.
I don't know
somehow. So.
But it doesn't. It has none of that.
Does your Merc, if you put it in sport mode, does it not disable the stop start? My car does.
I'm trying to think.
I'm not sure why, but it does it. So I just tend to drive like that all the time.
It doesn't have a sport mode. It just has. It has sports. It has active dampers, and you put them in. But no, which I leave in comfort all the time. Or it's like comfort or concrete, one or the other. But no, I start stops a pain in the arse too. But lane assist, dangerous stuff.
Get it? I was reading about what do you call your guy, Ian Everly and Evo had one of the new M2s out, and he says to get to the lane assist, and I think it's 7 clicks every time you get out in the car to get through menus to get to where it is. So they don't even make it easy now. It's well hidden.
Well, let's depress us even more thoroughly. Is it in the next week or two? The new cars coming out have to have the speed limiters? Are they mandatory now? Coming in the next wee while? Certainly, it has to give you a warning or something. I know it's just like a vibrate the steering wheel or whatever it is, Yeah. But
will that be like every single time you pass a certain speed?
Yeah, probably.
Obviously, for the road you're on.
Yeah. And I'll get it wrong. Because
of course it will.
Because, funnily enough, the Lotus doesn't have any of that. Doesn't have any of that at all. The Merc has read the speed signs and shows it on the heads-up display.
Well, some sat navs do anyway. They kind of pop up or ping, make a beep or something.
Yeah. Well, in fairness, Waze gets it right every time.
Yeah.
The Merc down south, coming through the Dublin Port Tunnel. Would you like to do 120 miles an hour?
Yes, I would.
Because I'm going to put 120, but it's MPH because I can't understand where I am or what the crack is. Because I've just come from Wales and I'm now in the tunnel in a different country, and I'm just going to read the sign and get it completely wrong. And I've been in a 60 and it's read at you go past a school, but the school's not open. It reads the 20 sign.
Yeah.
Annoying as hell.
But it's the same like when anytime we've been in Dubai, especially when you're in the taxis out there, as soon as they go over the speed limits, you see beep, 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 and it's so annoying. But when we're talking about like remap and stuff like that, that is what I think is going to be the next thing. People who don't even need a remap to give you more power. I think they're going to remap to get rid of that.
It'll be hackers.
Nanny state, yeah.
No, hack the software in the car and disable certain things.
You'll be jailbreaking your Tesla,
and then probably jailed for it.
I know.
Overclocking.
Oh, I know.
You could probably live with a few beeps and maybe a vibration in the wheel. It's whenever 5 or 10 years time they actually cut your speed.
Well, that's now
that's what we're heading towards.
Allegedly, they're saying
softening us up.
Yep. Totally.
Tenderizing the meat.
Yeah. Thankfully, there's enough rings in our trunk that we can just buy older stuff because we're of an age. I think your M3, Gary, is it have any of that stuff, or did you manage?
Start? That's about it. Yeah, no lane assist. That's reversing cameras, which I don't mind.
No, it's useful. That's useful.
Sensors. Yeah, no. Nothing I got apart from the stop-start thing. So I think if you bought the new model, it has everything, bells and whistles. Which kind of, you're chatting about the speed limiter. It brings me on my next topic, the new M5, which I was reading about today on RMS. 717 horsepower. So we're being told to cut back speed and reduce speed, but to be able to keep building these really powerful cars amongst other manufacturers.
I saw the photos of it.
Yeah. It doesn't look bad.
It's fat.
It's fat. It's big, but it's got a kind of muscular look about it, I think.
It's hybrid now.
Yes, actually. I think I have photos here.
A hybrid. The chat. And like the numbers, the top trumps games we play now is, well, how much horsepower? So it's always going to have more horsepower than the previous one. However, I think it's 2.5 ton. So I think in part of weight terms, it's pretty grim. I quite like the interior.
Here. It's 570 kilograms heavier than the F90, the previous model, non-competition. The competition was even later, as you know, like that they replaced certain bits of carbon fibre, but that's a massive weekend. Like you would expect most cars to go up 50 or 100, but most of that's in the battery and the new electric motor. The motor alone gives 184 horsepower, so you can drive something like 70 or 80 miles on the motor, and then obviously couples with the engine to give you that massive power figure. But the weight per tonne, the brake horsepower per tonne is actually down on the previous car, so it's slower to 60 than the previous one was. So you've all this extra weight and complexity, and you're kind of going, what for? What are you achieving?
Slower to 60, yet has an electric hybrid powertrain, which really doesn't make sense.
It's easier to run. That's about the only thing you could say that's improving on.
I don't think it's a pretty looking thing.
No,
It's not, but
It has this. It has the sort of that design language at the front end that is, again, it's just weird.
like half EV, half.
have you seen the photo of the grille lit up? Yeah,
It's not.
they haven't gone for the massive grille this time, thankfully, but they've put like a kind of a glow around this one.
It's not the big deviated septum that you got in the M3 and M4, which we all are now used to.
Yes,
and it's just the way it is. That's fine. But yeah, it's.
I know, and green is such a colour though, isn't
Now
it?
we're looking at a picture. We'll stick some photos in the.
You can see the design language.
Straight.
The new 7 Series is quite like that at the rear too.
Yeah, quite
Yeah.
square.
Skinny little lights and then fat everywhere else.
Yeah. But yeah,
The
it's
same as
interesting.
my Mrs. iX though. Like the lights in the iX are like they're just two long thin bands. I love it so do.
I tell you who's doing this hybrid thing right. Have you seen the new 911 GTS? It was
Yes,
so it's
I read about this.
it's hybrid. So the 992 generation of Porsche 911, wide, fat, big looking car, and they always said the platform was ready for electrification. So I think their first stab at it is the new GTS. They went previous GTS I think was twin turbo. The new GTS, which and it was about 450 or 480 brake. So by all means, a great car, 3 litre. The new car is hybrid. But what Porsche have done, I think, first of all, they've done away with the twin turbo, which is interesting. So they've put an electric core in the turbo. So the turbo will spin up under electric, so it means you no boost lag. So it spins up much quicker than it would.
It's a very fast response.
Very fast response. And then it's Peter K only. And I think they've put the hybrid part, they've integrated into the Peter K. So I think the car only weighs another 20 or 30 kilos more than the outgoing model, rather than how much did you 570 kilos you said?
500, yeah.
The
570 weight gain over the previous one.
Yeah, so practically no weight gain, but the new GTS is got another 100 horse, and I think it's like 60 in under 3 seconds, and properly like it's turbo territory.
Yeah.
Fast. I think they're going to say it should do like GT3.
But that sounds the
lap
right
times.
approach. It's augmenting what's there and making it better.
Yeah.
Whereas the main headline that people are taking out of all this today is not, fantastic new M5. It's the weight gain, how heavy it's got, and it's slower.
And here's the thing about BMW too. BMW have done this before, and they've done it right. They built the i8, which was an incredible feat. And it was light, and okay, it had a 1.5 3-cylinder or something, but it showed you that they could package something how long ago was that? 10 years ago? 12 years ago?
Yeah.
And you still see them, and they're still a really smart.
Oh, you see them outside your local gym or whatever.
Yeah.
They are that sort of car, like an R8 type look about the
a successful PT.
exactly on $2,000 down and $4,000 a month, and so cool looking. BMW have lost the plot. They had the knowledge, they can do it, and they haven't done it. I don't know what they're.
And like I said, this will this will help the car's economy, but I can't imagine too many people buy M5s because they're worried about the economy of the car, the miles per gallon. The only other thing I can think of is that it's offsetting the CO2 and the output, and maybe
has to be.
That's helping it somehow to get through certain legislation. But again, that means it's being led by marketing and accountants and not by the M department.
Well, I think manufacturers are getting crucified. I'm not exactly sure of the precise numbers, but I think it's something like next year 22% of their fleets have to be, sales have to be electric.
Yeah.
But at the moment, people don't seem to want electric, and so they're having to dump them out.
Yeah.
And I think that's having a significant impact on the second-hand market. And people, I think, are also, the consumers, getting cold feet. You see Pablo on the forum asking about buying his first EV, and a lot of people saying, well, what happens after it runs out of warranty? You know, and and I do think some of that is fear-mongering, but some of it is valid only because we don't have the aftermarket, which is mature enough there to deal with battery woes, you know.
You're absolutely right. Big Pete had kind of, he summed up really well. EV works when you can make it work, but when it starts being, if you treat it like normal ICE driving, it's never ever going to work for you. You know, if you're driving it to the batteries at the very minimum and expecting to stop in a garage and put a charge, like, it's never ever going to work that way. I think when you're ready to move to EV, you have to make some conscious choices yourself and some conscious changes that you just have to kind of make it work. And kind of, we're all in not dissimilar positions. You've had EV for a lot longer than either Guy or I have. And I'm really starting to see benefits of it, and I can really see, like, don't get me wrong, there's times where obviously range anxiety and things like that there, you do have to kind of plan things a wee bit more. But, you know, at the end of the day, if you're picking any EV with a 300 mile range, you're good to go anywhere. Yeah. Anywhere in Northern Ireland.
Yeah, but I think people are, some people have moved and then some people have moved back. And I've heard this as well. I've heard the cases of some people who have moved from like BMW to Kia.
Yep.
Which was a massive deal for Kia. Yeah. But now they're maybe moving back again because they are the uncertainty, the deals aren't anywhere near as good, the cost to buy these things, what happens after such a period of time, range issues, because there was that one time they had to drive to Donegal and they discovered they discovered when they got to Donegal there was only one charger for all of Donegal, you know. and that was enough to put them off because there was 3 petrol stations instead, you know. So and like, we are those sorts of fickle beasts that's all it takes for, you know, someone to be put off. You have a bad experience with something and it's enough to, doesn't matter how, you know, objectively good something is if you have a bad experience, you know.
But equally, those people, you know, it's the sort of thing. I had to go to work the other day, and it was from my base up to Maydown outside Eglinton Derry direction and back in the one day. So it was like 100 and it was a guts of 200 miles. And in an EV van or things like that there, you can be cutting it fine enough. But what I've also found is when you're, and even though that's not a particularly long drive, halfway around, you don't mind actually stopping to go to the bathroom, grab a cup of coffee, stick an extra charge onto it. So again, it's one of those things where, as I've got a wee bit older, the thought about doing a 3 or 4 hour drive in one sit doesn't appeal to me in the same way as it used to.
Yep.
You know, being able to stop for 15 minutes, plug it in for a supercharger, enough to go to the bathroom, grab a cup of coffee and go back out, and suddenly you've just had yourself in 100 miles on. Okay, it's costing you a bit, but as I said, people will always make excuses when it kind of suits their narrative.
When we went to the Cotswolds, we went Dublin Holyhead and A55 along the top of Wales and then down the M6. Took the Merc. Not because the Merc was the better car in terms of space and all the rest, because it's sort of 6 of 1 between it and our family I-Pace, but just the charging network. If I had a Tesla, it'd be a different story, because I know the superchargers always work, always available, super fast. The rest of it, for an ordinary EV, which only really has 220, 240 miles range, really, I didn't know.
Yeah.
You know, and it's also sometimes when you get to your destination, if there's not good charging there, if you're on the 3-pin or something like that there, you know, then it can be,
funny, it's, I know you guys love Harry's Garage. I find him a wee bit, but
I do too, because he sold his Lotus. But anyway.
Yeah, well, funny.
I can drag a wee bit at times, but
he definitely can.
But he is good.
But I did watch his video on that Lotus Electra, or
he did not get on well with that at all.
He didn't, and I'm kind of happy in some ways, but pissed off in other, because I was looking at it myself, because like they're coming up on ridiculously good deals and something that, you know, again, they got some 6,500 horsepower for not a lot per month.
Well, that one I had for 3-4 days.
Yeah,
it was incredible, but I only did about 150, 200 miles. Didn't get to run it right out of range.
Yeah.
Now, it told me it was going to do 300 miles, but I wasn't looking to see was it actually going to go do, because you know they call it a gasometer for a reason, like
For a reason.
Yeah. So, but incredible car. But if you're someone, especially you're in England and you're doing big miles, you need, you know, and something. I think they have 106 kilowatt hour battery, enormous.
Yeah.
So it should be doing 300 miles.
It should be fit for it.
It's funny you mentioned stopping, you know, for a break when you're driving those cars. I was in a petrol station a couple of weeks ago. My wife's 84, and I ran in to get milk, and I came out, and this guy, older guy, started wandering over towards me. You ever just get a feeling someone's going to really annoy you? Just had that look about him and started asking me about 84. No, what kind of range do you get in that thing? And is it hard to run? And then
it's hard to
I says,
electrons,
no.
sir.
And how long does it take to charge? And I says, well, like if you're going to drive to Dublin or something out there, you pull into Apple Green, 15 minutes, go and get a coffee, come back out, it's done. You know what he said to me? I don't drink coffee.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I just looked at him and I thought, what is here to say? Drink whatever the fuck you want. Or
This isn't for you.
where's this going?
Yeah. Oh. Do you know what? It can attract boring people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like they just want stats.
Well, you know, the only good thing about that is it makes people like me who can bore the tits off anyone make me look interesting. So
it's not kill you with niceness, kill you with stats.
Yeah.
Did you remember Vic and Bob when he comes up rubbing the trousers? So you see him coming up.
Gary, you're on a roll here. Cheer us up with some good news.
What have we got in the way of good news? Okay, so we've gone from the £110,000 M5 to the cheapest V8 in the UK, the new Mustang, which is
the cheapest V8 in the
55,000.
UK is my C63. Buy it now.
New V8. One that hasn't been clocked. I'm only joking. 55 grand for a brand new Mustang, exactly half the price of the M5. Kind of a bit of a performance bargain, really, if you think about it. So Ford have actually dropped the four-cylinder. They had a 2.3 if you recall, and
Bye EcoBoost. Worst name for an engine ever.
Never done it. Like Mustangs and V8s just are synonymous. You shouldn't have a four-cylinder ever in one.
Do you know what the problem is too? See that wee EcoBoost engine in isolation, great engine.
Yeah,
but it's
for Focus ST or something like that, great. But
Focus RS,
not for Mustang.
Yep.
So yeah, they brought out this new one, which actually looks very similar to the old one because it's the same platform, but it is totally reskinned, new car, new everything in it, and 5-litre V8, 440 horsepower. This is the 7th generation one. Only thing that you probably notice it's really different now is when you look on it, the dash is all digital. It's got this one-piece kind of cluster, runs right across. It's quite cool. It does a couple of nifty features, like you can change your dials to look like the versions of the dials from the 70s and 80s Mustangs. And, you know, Ford probably doing the Tesla thing, starting to add in wee nifty features that got to draw people's attention.
I'm such a child, but one thing I love about getting into a Mustang, isn't it, and correct me if I'm wrong, on the Speedo it says ground speed.
Yeah.
Which it just, you know, it's like cool. It's like the Saab night panel.
Steve McQueen effect.
That was so cool.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Stuff like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
That's just, or Lexus IS200, sort of the chronograph watch clocks. You know, we just love stuff like that there.
Yeah. So it's just felt fair play to Ford. You know, those cars are moving away from, you know, V8s, the four-cylinders, and they're going the opposite direction. They're keeping it alive.
Yeah,
you know, hopefully there's still a market for it and it'll sell enough to keep it popular. Sell in America, even if they don't sell here.
Is it coming here? Still coming here in right
now?
Right?
UK.
Yeah. Because that's like when I remember seeing it at the Geneva Motor Show when the right-hand drive car was launched without the leaf spring suspension or as proper suspension, and just think, this thing is absolutely
and well
class.
reviewed. You know?
Oh yeah.
It used to be the thing, you know, American cars don't handle, but the Mustang actually is quite good. And I think even the used ones are a bit of a bargain. Like you're seeing them on 22 grand upwards for 450 horsepower V8.
Lovely cars. And again, anybody who puts a line lock into the car just so you can do burnouts on the spot, fair play to them.
Doesn't the new one has an electric handbrake, but it has an electric wand.
Yeah.
So if you want to do handbrake turns,
You can still do it.
Yeah. So that's sort of I loved about the GRERS, that someone had thought, just in case it's 4-wheel drive, but just in case you want to do handbrake turns, when you lift the handbrake, we'll disconnect. Yeah, you know, just stuff like that. There, just you know, people. You know, you're in the hands of car people there. Like,
so that's the standard GT model, and then I forget the name now. I think it's a Shadow Edition. It's 10 grand more, and it's got 500 horsepower, and it's got a bit of a kit on it and bits and pieces. Really nice looking car.
Do you know you don't hear a lot about? And I remember looking at them when I was looking at the Amira, is the 8th gen Corvette. There was a big deal made about the right-hand drive Vet. And it's sort of died a death, hasn't it? I haven't heard anything.
Ferrari looking thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, a bit awkward looking.
Didn't they change something? Didn't they became mid-engine instead of...
Became mid-engine, yeah.
What were they before? Front-engine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. So it's like the first sort of proper
Yeah,
front engine in the American,
it's a bit
or mid-engine
like,
in the American muscle
it's
car.
like when Porsche went from air cooled to water cooled. I remember some of the purists were going, no, we won't buy this. They're changing it. It's sacrilege.
Aye. Meanwhile, your guy Metzger's building the best engines in the flipping world.
Yeah.
No, V8 Mustang. I think whenever you see one of them, you can't help but smile, grin like a child.
Especially if it has a pipe on it.
You know it's not the fastest thing about. You know, like a flipping Map M2 is going to eat it for breakfast, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, they don't have a frantic kind of nature. They're a muscle car, lazy V8, but plenty of poke if you need it.
Yeah, and this design, also I look at it and go, large burnout, please.
Yes, exactly. It's that old school formula. You know.
Speaking of the Geneva Motor Show, it's done. It's gone. Done away with it. It's not happening.
Finished?
It's finito.
Wow.
Well, it's no wonder we're selling £25 cheeseburgers.
Aye, exactly. Well, that was a rip-off of a...
Remember you telling me you went over it and you said that there's nowhere else to eat. It costs a fortune to eat in it.
Yeah, it was like 10 years ago. It was £25 for a burger. Like mental, but an amazing show. COVID killed them pretty much. Stopped having it, and then just the cost of that whole thing, which is a real shame. This is why, and part of this is maybe getting older, not having as much free time. So when I do go to a show, I look forward to a lot more. I really take it in, try and be there for it, rather than going, it's just one other one this week,
Yeah.
Would the Geneva show have had a lot of exclusive kind of launches or things, or what's the draw over going to shows in the UK?
It was always the manufacturers launch.
And has that died down, I wonder, too? Has that affected it?
Yeah, well, some of the manufacturers pulled out of it this year, and I didn't go. I thought about going, and that was it. Knocked on the head. But yeah, the big manufacturers just weren't turning up, and I think there are those sort of shows. I don't know if a stand, maybe a cheap stand, might have been £1 million.
Yeah.
It was.
I think nowadays they don't need to do them in person. They launch them online and promotional videos and websites and all that there.
Yeah, the world's changed.
There's a handful of journalists go and see it in person. That's all you have to report on.
So yeah, Gary, come on, you're on a roll here.
I've got a couple of resto mods actually came across, which I thought was interesting because I've decided, like, over the last few podcasts, it's been too much EV talking about EVs all the time.
Resto mods are
about as good as it gets now for petrol cars.
Yeah, they're too expensive.
Yes,
but
and unfortunately, these two you don't want to mention are very expensive. But
well, when you say resto mod, the most recent one that comes to mind, and because it was featured in Evo, was the Tolman 205 GTI.
Yeah.
It looked amazing. But 120 grand or 100 grand or something like that there.
You'd love to tackle one yourself, but you probably end up spending the same money trying to do it.
Or the MST Mark II Escorts or that sort of stuff. Incredible.
So this one I came across, a Ford RS200. It's their 40th anniversary coming up since we first conceived. And a company called Borham are creating a resto mod. Now, Borham differ from most companies. Unlike Singer and Noix, you just take a 911 and redevelop it. Borham are actually sanctioned by Ford to do this.
All right, okay.
And Ford are actually, as a separate project, are giving them blueprints of original cars. So they're going to recreate new versions of maybe Capri and Mark II Escorts and things like that there. So there's a bit of kind of, I don't know what the word is.
Yeah, but
it's more genuine perhaps than just a company. What
comes with a blessing, unlike
it's a partnership. Probably a bit like when ProDrive created the new Impreza that they brought out. So Subaru always sanctioned them to do things like that there, which is good. So they've got this RS200 coming out, which is going to be remastered. There'll be kind of an original version, very close to the one that was out 40 years ago. And then they're going to have a much more updated version. And I'm assuming there'll be more power in the engine and lots of modern features.
Released any photos or?
No, it's all quite well hidden at the moment. They've got a couple of photos in the cars are sitting covered in sheets. Now you can see his little LED headlights poking out. Yeah. As you often do.
Well, here's the only thing, right? At least when Singer started doing the 964 911s, they weren't silly money.
Yeah.
What money doesn't? What's the cheapest RS200 you can buy? Is it like 250 grand?
Oh yeah, nuts. Well, that's the problem. A lot of restaurants are based in the original cars. So where would you go and buy an RS200 now?
Yeah.
It'd be hard to get like a whole fleet of them to actually build upon. So they're recreating them from the ground up, but using the original blueprints.
So they're building brand new cars the same way sort of MST are buying. Well, MST are buying in chassis, and they're not really a Mark II.
They're calling it a remaster rather than a resto mod, which is a good name for it if you think about how songs can be remastered. They're recreated, but they're meant to be better than the original. Touched up things you got there.
Well, look, and in fairness, an RS200 was always a bits of car.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of room for improvement there.
The other one I came across is this HWA resto mod based on the 190 Mercedes Evo. I don't know if you've seen photos of this.
I like myself a 190 Evo.
The photos are great. Now, one of the things they've done here, they've actually put an original next to it in the background. Let me see if I can just get the photo.
We're going to get some photos, because this is terrible to
chat.
Someone driving up the road going, I don't know what these guys are talking about, but I know a 190 Cosy is just the dogs. Like,
so you can see it's kept exactly the same lines, but bigger arches, bigger wheels, modern lights, modern features all round. It just looks like a really fat modern version of the 190 Evo.
That's the first I've ever seen it, and it's just amazing.
And it's actually only based on a 190 shell. That's all. They don't use an original Evo. They use a 190 and strip it down and then build it from the ground up. Just using that shell. So
class.
About 430 horsepower, a bit more power. I think the original wasn't actually, like, cars out there weren't that high in horsepower really. Like even the original M3, they were probably 200, 220, something like that there. So it's about twice the power the original had, but very meaty looking.
That's class.
So cool. So cool. Yeah, like the resto mod thing is just that whole scene is
it's a bit price though.
It's huge.
$750,000.
You can talk about resto mod. That leads me on to one of the few things I have to talk. Davey in Procar. He's resto modding his current premises. He's moved down 2 doors down to a new kind of just as huge. It's about 4 times the size. It's just going to be class. And carried off. So literally, he's just decided to push Procar on a wee bit bigger than it ever has been. And I was in with him tonight before I came down here, just giving him a few different things, and it's going to be a very cool thing.
I have a suggestion. We'll say it on air. Why don't we bring the mics up?
Very good idea. Good idea.
If he's up for it,
get the kettle on, Davey.
Very good.
Come up and have a chat with you.
We'll do that.
That'll be great.
Much like other resto mods, knowing Davey, the prices will go through the roof.
I remember when I was back at uni, and one of the things we do to skive off was go up the Ormer Road, go up the Pro Car, look around. Yep. Davey's absolutely immaculate.
The black VTS, remember?
Black VTS. Yep.
This is them, because I can remember doing the same thing, and I am 44 now. But even from back in the day, Davey looked about 40 then, so he did. Did he always look as old to use, did he?
That's a terrible thing to say. Davey's doing very well for himself, and we wish him all the best, Ross. That's all we need to say. There's no need to be so nasty.
He's a lovely guy.
So, like,
about 2-man podcast up at his premise.
But here, do you know what? See that game that both you guys are in. Difficult game to stick at for over a long period of time.
He has been there from the very start,
yeah.
And he has evolved, and he's transitioned, and he's done everything that he's needed to do, and he's ran and built a really successful business, and genuinely deserves every success.
Yeah, there's a lot of car shops from the Max Power era that didn't make it.
Yeah.
So fair play to you if you can evolve, as you say, and move with the times.
Yeah, and like it's difficult. Even the people that you need to sell to, do you sell to people that are the same age as you, or do you sell to younger people, and then then you don't know exactly what they're into and stuff. So it's I find that very impressive that he's been able to manage such longevity.
It's a credit to him, and again, he's been a long time forum sponsor with RMS, and
it means the world for sure.
And it's brilliant. It genuinely is. It's brilliant to see. He's a good guy. He's been at this longer than anybody has been, so it's great to see somebody.
I think it would be good to then reminisce about some of the old school motoring life, all the old school shops that used to be about as well back in the day. Like Iceman and Car Toys and
Carnosaur and
all that sort of
Carnosaur is still going, I think. I used to frequent one up outside Derry, and it's owned by Leo McGurk and his dad, and used to love going in there. They always had loads of carbo seats sitting out there. You could sit in, loads of alloys obviously, and body kits there. But
like Carnosaur and Ballymena was somewhere we always used to go to as well. I think exactly the same story. You go into, well, I tell you another place that's still Motorsport and Spares as well.
Yep.
And another cornerstone of those types of shops as well. But there's something about going in, big wall of don't start you coughing when I say big wall of autoglim or something like that, Ross. But that's the stuff that you bought.
That's
Big
the
wall
stuff
head
that-
units.
Yeah.
Head
Do you
units.
remember that there? Yeah.
And the motorised ones, you sit and play with them for a while and bring out the screen and all that.
Pile of subs and boxes. So you say a pile of seats out, pile of alloy wheels that you couldn't afford. Yeah.
But
Unreal.
3-spoke always and Scorpion exhausts.
Yep. Cracker. Very good. So I think we're going to self-invite ourselves up to Pro Car for the next show. Let's try and get that booked in. But I think on that happy note, we call this day an end. Remember to like and subscribe and do all the things you're supposed to do.
And bring your dreams.
You can build your dreams.
Build your dreams.
Bring your dollars.
Yeah.
And
This has been your host, Andy Cooper.
And remember we can find us at RMS Motoring. And remember, there's no warranty. This was sold as seen.